Hold on a moment. Oh, sorry, I was waiting for the sneeze. Anyway, hello everyone, to people just joining, to people who have been waiting, and to everyone watching things back on the VOD, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this. Hello, welcome to another stream. It is once again Sunday, which means it is once again Game Dev Sunday. So you may have seen from when I was making announcements and stuff that today's stream may be a bit of a lighter one, depending on how much I can get done and how much there is that I can feasibly think of to do at this stage. Aside from, say, planning things out and so on and so forth. And we'll just have to see where that where that goes. So yeah. Also, I'm gonna switch out from the Spyro 3 soundtrack because I think I've listened to all of it on stream. Collectively, all of it on stream again the past few game dev streams or the past few weeks or so. So I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna hop into like the soundtrack for Spyro 1 instead for like, you know, vibes and whatnot. There we go. Right. Video gaming. That is right. Hello, Heater. But yes, so last week, we did an assortment of bits. Somehow may have accidentally fixed the whole issue with, you know, game crashing when I was trying to pause and whatnot, which is super cool. Started messing around with save system tidbits as well, which, since then, I did figure out what I was doing incorrectly. So if I switch on over to Rider is open. So I'm gonna go back and sort of go through things again, just in case people don't remember or people are just hopping in now. So I made a sort of temp sort of function and input for testing this feature where when the player presses the input for the temp or test save action, it will call the temp save method. Then temp save just simply says, were you here the last time? You cannot remember. I think you joined partway through. I'm trying to remember. I know it's been only a week, but I do forget. I do tend to forget stuff. Also, I think I minimized VideoTube, so my little thing's a bit choppy. There we go. Much better. If I just click on another thing instead of minimizing it, it just looks normal. There we go. So, continue on. Temp save triggers save, which it takes in a name of a slot. I'm using slot 1 as, you know, a test for the time being. Later down the line, I do want to sort of say, oh hey, you know, we select a slot and either the player can name it or, you know, it just still has the slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 things, but it's dependent on what one you click and whatnot. But for now, this is a just a name that I'm using to test things out. So yeah, so this is called, and first things first, we check if a save game does exist. Now, with Unreal, the whole thing about like having like object classes and whatnot specifically used for saving data is built in, unlike with Unity where you'd have to do that essentially manually or using some other plugin or some other thing that people have like made a tutorial for. So I like this level of convenience for this stuff. I should probably also change this so it says overwriting game data when it checks if it's already existing, you know, just to avoid confusion. Also close the engine quickly so that I can quickly recompile and have this change be reflected. So, first we check if the save game does exist. If the save game does exist, then we essentially just load the game from the slot. So we find the slot with the slot name. Oh yeah, so I found something out super dumb about GTA 5. Aside from how fucky the enemy AI is, as you found out last night, you found something else out. Oh, I didn't find that out last night, believe me. That's a long time problem I've had, but I digress. Okay. Well, I'll wait for you to explain that, and then I'll continue. So what happened? Tell me. I wanna hear what you have found, Mr. Magic Man. You know how ridiculously long it takes to load into online for the Yeah. So turns out takes a third of the time. Is it if you have it on an SSD or if you do something else? To load into story mode and then it... Really? Seriously? That's ridiculous! That's so dumb! That's so incredibly dumb! How the hell do you make a system to load, like, load direct into online, but it takes so long, but then if you load into story mode, and then load into online, it takes way less time? What the fuck? That's so stupid and dumb. I'm so... What? Also, I honest to God look at my PNG, my little PNG, and I think, yeah, well, eventually I do want to add, like, more little, emotive kind of stuff, because at the moment, you just have me doing my flapping gums, and there's not too much there. So, definitely a little bit later down the line, maybe soon, maybe not, I do want to add some more, like, little, states that I can shift into, so it's a bit more, like, you know what would be cool? What would be cool? I'm interested in hearing. Go on. Ugh, gosh. Having like little expressions of, yeah, no, that was the type of thing I want. I want that kind of stuff on the hotkey, but I need to put, you know, effort into that, and sometimes it takes me time to do that. But I do. Maybe if I got a Stream Deck, yeah, if I got a Stream Deck, it'd be easy. But money is the big problem. Maybe I actually cave and make a dono goal and say, hey, help me get help me get a Stream Deck. I was about to say, help me get a Steam Deck. I'm not getting asked people for like a couple £100 for a fucking Steam Deck. No. But no, I don't know. I don't think I would, but yeah, it's judging. But yeah, no, I do want to be able to like have things be a bit more expressive, because like while there is life there, it's still a little flat, and I feel like it's almost there, if that makes sense. Like it's almost there. Like the personality is there. It just needs to be expressed a bit more, in my opinion. and it doesn't really do some of my more, I guess, emotionally charged reactions justice. If that makes sense. So, I need to get to work on that at some point. Anyway, save system stuff. Going back to that. So, if the save slot does exist with that name, then we just load the game from the slot. I don't know. I mean, I could just look into, like, I can go to the definition or the declaration or usage of the method. So I can actually go into the gameplay statics class and then look at this. So okay, right. So this is a wrap around the functions reading to and from a byte array. Okay. So we have a byte array, and then object bytes is passed in as a reference with the slot name and the user index. So in this case, it would be the slot name that we pass in, and the user index would likely be 0. If load data from slot, this is another... So outsave data is data buffer to load into. And I'm assuming if I go to the declaration of this, so I save game system, save system. This will make absolutely zero sense to people. I'm just curious about how this all works under the hood. So the iSave system, save game system interface, so equals iPlatform features module get save system. If save system and the length of the slot name is greater than 0, so slot names have to have at least one character. Slot names need to have at least one character. Loads the game, blocking until complete. Return true. And then... okay. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go too much into it. Basically, we get whatever is read from that byte array, and that's just converted into a save game that we can just store in our save game variable here. If it doesn't exist, then we just create a save game object using the save game class variable as the T subclass of as a blueprint for this. So we put this here, we choose whatever one we want to base it off of, and that is based off of this class right here. And at the moment I have the aPlayerState variable, which I created during the last stream, but then I also have two new variable, I have two T maps that I made since last stream when I was testing a thing, and this was where I properly figured out how to store this data specifically in it. We have a thing, so we have two T maps. One of them is our cheese map, and one of them is our fruit map, and that's essentially the same as if we were to look at the player state and see the fruit map and cheese map here. That's essentially these two things here as well, but basically we're storing them here to actually save, so we can actually have persistence with how many, like, fruits and how many, like, cheeses we've collected and what specific ones we've collected. So I may as well also make sure that Clip Studio is properly opened up. Just for when I need to doodle and sort of explain things or plan things out, you know, as usual. So, but yes, as I was saying, this is based off of this class here. So, whatever, like, blueprint we make of this essentially has these variables. So, after that, we cast the save game that we have into just a generic game save data. Like, so at the moment, uSaveGame. Oh wait, no. I'm wrong. uSaveGame is the parent class for game save data. So uSaveGame is the parent class for this. So we're doing a teaser class of uSaveGame so we can actually use this one, because otherwise, if we just said, oh, we're just gonna say this thing here, then we can't, actually set it to the blueprint that we make of this. Okay, so we convert that parent class into this specific class, so we convert it to a pointer for this specific class. If this doesn't successfully populate this, if this is a null pointer, then we just return. We don't do anything because we don't want to try and access anything that exists, like any variable that exists here to store data in, if we can't actually get something from this conversion. So we do that. This is what I was doing previously. This last time is essentially, this was where it ended. It would essentially take the player state from this controller, the one that this controller owns, and it would save it here. Now, the thing that if you can remember that, then that's fine. But if not, I'll also just explain it anyway. Although it was doing this whole saving stuff, it was saving a pointer for an object that, when gameplay ends, no longer exists within memory, or that particular pointer no longer exists within memory. So what would essentially happen is, when I saved, quit, and then would load the map up again, when I would check the the values within the player state, it just would not reflect, whatever we had saved on that player state before. So any objects that we picked up or anything were not, being recorded as I wanted them to. So what I decided to do since then was I added this extra bit on. And what this extra bit essentially does is we're casting it to our specific project version of the player state. So we're taking the player state that the player controller has, and bearing in mind that's automatically assigned based on whatever player state class we select for the game mode for a map. So because it will always be the blueprint version of this class here, it will just be this thing here. But we also again check to make sure that this is not null. If it's null, then we don't do anything else. And then we just say, hey, take the... So I made two getter methods as well. So get cheese map and get fruit map, and this essentially just gets the cheese t map and gets the fruit t map without setting these to public. Because what you would normally do with things, if you're trying to access things from outside of a specific class, you would have a public getter and a public setter, and a public getter just gets the data, and you would have a public getter. You wouldn't set things publicly. You would set things within a class, but you would have a public thing to be able to actually grab the data that you need, basically. So we get these things. No, we get these things, and we set the game saves versions of them to the T maps that are grabbed from these. And bearing in mind, for the game save data, I just made these things public variables, because only one thing is ever going to happen with them. They're either going to be having data passed into them, or having data taken from them when loading. And yeah, that's basically what happens before, the save game is actually saved to that slot. So that's what happens. Then in the load the game, and bearing in mind, I'm still explaining things for people who either don't remember or weren't here, or, just hopping in. So we take the slot name. Once again, we're checking if the save game exists, because you don't want to try and load a thing that doesn't exist. And then once we've checked whether or not it exists, we just do everything within this block. If it doesn't exist, nothing else happens. Nothing happens, nothing will just happen in this instance. So, once again, we get a generic usave game, call it loaded save. We load the game from the slot, and by this point we know that the slot exists, so we're loading it into this variable. Then we're casting this to a U-game save data so we can get our specific variables. And once again, if this is null, then don't do anything else. We don't want to try and access data in a thing that doesn't exist in that state, so we just leave it as is. And player state equals game save, the player state that's in the game save. And this was what I was doing last time. Again, this part here, same as the last time. This section of the code here is where I added bits. So we are casting just the generic player state again as, you know, the ATP player state. And then if this is not null, then we're just loading the collectible map. And while you normally wouldn't like publicly edit things or, you know, normally have a public setter, this is an instance where I just decided, you know what, if we're loading things from memory or loading things from a save game, then we're just going to do it this way. And now that I've kind of explained things in a way that I feel like is okay, but at the same time could warrant some extra, like, you know, general, like, troubleshooting or question answering if people don't understand or didn't complete or were lost in some parts, then I can do so. But I'm going to compile because of that one minor change that I made to the code, so it actually can differentiate, like, the statement printed based on whether or not we're saving to a new slot or, you know, saving to something that's already exists and is therefore being overwritten. But yes, now one thing I should do, and hold on, I need to try and find, I'm gonna do this while we're still in Rider. The project has loaded up, but I'm gonna do this thing. How do I find default company? Right. Oh, whoops. Right. Right. Right, I need to actually look, so where... Right, so app data, local... You can get the safe game path for the... Alright. Okay, thing that I'm trying to find out, sorry that this is taking a little bit of time. The thing I'm trying to figure out is, because, of course, when you save, like, a slot, then that has to store it somewhere. What I'm trying to find out is where this directory is, and I don't know where this is. So I'm going to close the engine for now, and I'm going to quickly make a change and say, what was it? It was get the safe game path with this F platform process user settings directory. So how to, and now I need to remember how to convert a T character to a string. Convert Also, I'm sorry to call a quick break. I am needing to take a quick little bathroom break, so I'm gonna quickly sort that out. Also stew on how I'm going to find out where to find this data, because I'm going to delete that slot so I can, do things from scratch to demonstrate. So, I'll be right back, and I won't be too long. So yeah, see you in a couple of moments. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I have also realized, kind of a bit silly, where exactly this, stuff is held. So, go into GitHub, real projects, this project, saved, save games, slot1.sav. There we go. Right, so, going to delete the slot, and then I'm going to open the project. So now we get to see this or chat gets to see this actually working, you know, from scratch, rather than, you know, me saying, oh yeah, you know, it's definitely working, you know. So this won't take too long. Wait, hold on. I'm also going to stop that. I don't need this line anymore. The only reason I would ever need this is if I wanted to learn where to find the directory in an actual package project. But at the moment, I don't want to do any of that, so we're just going to get rid of that line. Right, project is loaded up. Oh yeah, you want to know something fun? Sure. Go right ahead. Before I go over things, go ahead. So you know that set of missions I was doing on GTA Online? Like, oh yeah, no, the one you were getting frustrated with. I know which ones. So it turns out my suffering was actually worth it because I got pet. Oh! Like, Oh! Yo! Actually, suffering was worth it. Ow. Okay. Nice. Anyway, so I deleted the slot. So no data is beat. So I finally had 2 million, which I needed for a high-end apartment. You're finally making your way up. You're finally making your way up in the world. Yeah. But then, all of the suddens, Larry. It didn't take the money. What? Why? So you just still had 2 million. Oh. Huh. So then you bought a business too, because fuck it, why not? Infinite money glitch? But yeah, so I deleted the slot. No data has been loaded, so there's no cheese count, there's no fruit map or cheese count or whatever. I'm gonna pick up the objects, and then I'm going to press 2 because that saves the game. So I've picked those up. Now I'm going to stop the play mode. I'm going to load in. Now if I go into player state, that has successfully loaded up the cheese map. It has loaded up the cheese map. And that's pretty cool. Also, I realized that I think because the player state isn't like existing within like a persistent level or anything, that's the reason why it can't be saved. So yeah, the ID for the cheese object and so on is saved, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Also, the reason why cheese count is still being saved, or is preserved on load, is because if we go into Rider, where I've written the code for, I'm gonna close player character for now. If we go into the code where I load in the collectible maps, as you can see, I do this with a loop, or looping through each of the entries within the loaded, in the T map that's loaded in. And then we have a boolean here, so bool is cheese. So for each of these pairs within this T map, first we check if it's cheese or not, and then depending on whether or not it is, it's added back into its respective T map, and then the respective count for that collectible is increased by 1 whenever it's loaded in. So that's how that works. But yeah, that's, you know, saving and loading those bits of data working very well, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now the main thing I do want to do, and bearing in mind, well, I did say, you know, this will be a lighter game dev stream today. It won't be as long as I normally would. But I do want to do, because I do want to sort of like pace myself a little bit today, because sometimes I do sort of end up kind of like straining myself a little bit too much trying to get so much done every single time. So this is more sort of like, you know, taking it a bit easier today, which is nice. But that being said, the most I want to try and do, I mean, it'll be pretty easy to do. I want to be able to sort of like, I mean, the main things is saving, you know, the level that is, or the player was last in, the position within that level, or maybe not, because, you know, maybe you don't want the player to be in, you know, the exact position they were in when they stopped playing the game, because if we looked at, you know, Spyro and Crash and whatnot from the PS1 era, it didn't keep an exact record of where you were within a given level. Although with Crash, if you just quit the game, you just be back on the world, on like the level select and whatnot. But with Spyro in particular, if you quit while you were in the middle of a level, and you loaded up that save, you would load back into that level, but you would load at the very start of that level. So it doesn't matter if you got like a little bit of the way, halfway through, all the way to the end, we're in like a like secret area or a character specific area in the case of Spyro 3, you would always load back at the very start of that level. Which, yeah, that was how things worked then. So I'm debating on whether or not I would only save the name of the level that the player was last in, or if I want to also save the position that they were last in. Because who knows, maybe they choose to save in some stupid place, and, you know, they don't have enough time to react when they load up. That would be a bit unfortunate. Maybe I would actually do checkpoints and whatnot, but... I mean, checkpoints would be useful in the case of, you know, dying and having to reload a level. And I probably would do that in that case. Sorry about that. But in the case of, you know, just, like, saving and loading the game when you quit and reopen the game, I do want to be a bit smart about this. So, you know, it's things for consideration. It's things for consideration. Actually, you know what? Good time to bust open Clip Studio. Also, forgive the hands. I was re-practicing basics in art again the other day, because I frankly hadn't drawn for about a month, roughly, which is not good. So, I started off, like, going over the basics and stuff again. I didn't actually get to do the hands and stuff in the end, because I was doing things for the rest of that afternoon. But, aside from that, I did, like, practice drawing heads again and whatnot. Which I'd say, was okay. Like, different head shapes, different sort of, like, structures for the neck and whatnot, and it went pretty well. So... So for now, you get the funny hands sort of present there. But, yes. So, in terms of... So, save game. So, the data we would want to save... We would want to save the... So, of course, we want the cheese. Cheese IDs plus count. We want the fruit IDs plus count. We want the level name. We want the level name. And if we were loading in from the main menu, so main menu into, you know, level. So say this icon is just a level. Just a representative of a level, not an actual level, just a representative of a level. Say we were loading from here to here, all we'd need to simply do is just save the name of the level, and then we just, from the main menu blueprint, we would just say, oh, load level through name, because we already do that with loading the test level in, or loading into the test level. We would just need to sort of make sure that we could first get the, We would only be interested in the name for the main menu. So in the main menu specifically, we would get a save game from the slot if it existed, and then for the main menu specifically, we'd only be interested in the level name. So we get the level name, and then we'd load the level with that name, and that's basically what would happen on the level or on the main menu side of things. I'm going to add this as a dotted bullet because this is a hypothetical. Last known position / checkpoint. Now, I've kind of, like, in Unity, I kind of experimented with, like, saving positions and checkpoints and whatnot, but at the same time, it's kind of awkward, like, or it was kind of awkward in that case. It was very weird. But yeah, no, that was the before Unreal times. Those were the kind of the dark ages, really. Back when I was a bit haphazard with how I saved some bits of data. Aside from that, A key thing that we would also want to save is also possibly gameplay tags for abilities. Now, this in particular is kind of important because if we go back to the project, if we go back into project settings and we go into gameplay tags and we go to manage gameplay tags, if you remember, I manually added gameplay tags for the player abilities. So for the air dash, for the attack, for the climbing, for sprinting, for stomping, and so on. I added gameplay tags for each of these, and the thing that I would do is the only reason I would save the gameplay tags in this case, or these particular gameplay tags that have been applied to the player's ability system component, is because I want to save the fact that, you know, these abilities have been unlocked from the tutorial, either manually or just applying all of them at the same time if they chose to skip it because they feel like, yeah, no, I have a good grasp on things, or I'm playing the game for, you know, the second time or third time or whatever, or how many times they've played the game, because, you know, depending on the game, people will inevitably play it more than once. I'm looking at you specifically, Heater, with Super Mario Sunshine. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I'm talking about your multiple save slots. And how you occasionally erase one to play the game all over again. I see you there. I'm sorry if this sounds so antagonistic, but you get my point. But, yeah, no. I'd say, as I said, kind of a Banjo-Kazooie approach where you could either choose to do Bottles's tutorial at... Man, you're just playing GTA! I'm sorry, but I had to... You were a very good example of the person that plays one game, or plays through one game a lot, every so often. But yeah, it would be about, as I've pointed out, like, way many times before and way long ago, it would be kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie approach, where you could either just do things individually and learn abilities bit by bit, or you could just say, yeah, skip the tutorial and learning of things, because, yeah, I'm ready, I can just play the game, and, you know, Bottles would just give all of your standard abilities. So that would be the only reason I'd save these tags in particular. I would say that eventually, later down the line, when I actually start trying to work in tutorial stuff, I would want to have the player controller liaise with the ability system component, so that, you know, if the player wants to try an air dash, then they need to check whether or not they have it unlocked. And I'm pretty sure there is a way to do this. I have tinkered around with the idea of, you know, having unlockable moves and stuff when I was trying to migrate one of my projects over from Unity into Unreal. But that was over a year ago, and I kind of left that behind. It was my 2D like action like platformer side scroller project that I originally was working on back in 2021 in Unity. Then after a few years, I realized, you know what, the code is very, very messy in this project. I'm just gonna, you know, rebuild it from the ground up, improve all the code and everything in 2023. Then later that year, there was the whole debacle with, like, Unity being kind of scummy with the license changes. So I, you know, made the change to Unreal, and then I thought, you know what, as a way to learn the engine, what if I just, you know, port in my old project and learn how the gameplay ability system works and how all of this stuff works. And I was throwing myself into things too much too quickly, so I just kind of stopped doing it. But yeah, this has been more of a controlled way of easing myself in, so it's been nice. But anyway, rant aside, I would definitely want to save these because, you know, it makes sure that the player is still able to, you know, use their abilities and stuff. So, saving the gameplay tags for abilities is thing that I want to do as well. So, cheese IDs plus count, which, you know, we're doing at the moment. We're doing this at the moment. We're not doing these 2/3 things at the moment. And... there's other things that I could possibly save right now, but for the time being, these are essentially the basics. These are the basics. So... and these changes are simple, but it's essentially it's essentially restructuring and refactoring the blueprint code for the main menu to make a save system possible, essentially. So that's what I'm going to be working on for at least, you know, an hour or so, I'd say. If I choose to, like, continue stream, like, beyond, like, 11 or half 11, because, as I said, lighter stream today, not doing too much, or not trying to go for too long, just to pace myself a little bit. But, if I choose to go beyond there, then, we'll be focusing on that a little bit more. But, for now, that's what I intend to focus on for, like, at least the next hour or so. So, yeah. Without further ado, and without me rambling on for too long, we're going to go right into the main menu level. Because at the moment, this is, of course, empty. And, of course, when we click play, it will just create the main menu widget, and so on and so forth. What I would like, and I have one or two ideas for how I want to structure this. So, sorry, we're diving back into Clip Studio again. And, gonna open this, I'll open a new screen. And so I have one or two approaches. So either, one, make separate widget for save slots. Or save slot screen. And this would also include checking whether or not, checking for new game /load. And then this would also include either making a separate widget for, or making this like a little sub menu for like a little warning screen, like, oh, you already have data saved in this slot. Are you sure you want to override it and whatnot? That is the thing that I want to check for. Or I could just make the save slots, a sub menu, or make it a sub menu within you know, this widget. But I think making a separate widget for the save slot screen ideally sounds a lot better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a separate widget for the save slot screen. I may need to make specific, like, little mini widgets for each save, or for a save slot. Just so that I can, you know... God damn it. I'm trying to think. But yes, I'm essentially going to try and do that. Hopefully. Those are my hopes. My dreams, maybe. A little bit, somewhat, but that is what I'm going to attempt. So yes. Also, ad break starts in about 2 minutes, chat. So my attention was wandering. Sorry about that. Gonna go into blueprints, gonna go into widgets. So at the moment, of course, we have main menu, pause menu, and the UI fade menu or UI fade widget. We're gonna make a new widget blueprint. Oh wait, I don't think I'm gonna make it a TP widget base. Because I don't think at the moment it needs like to inherit and have a widget controller. So, or for the time being, we'll see what happens later down the line. But we'll make it a user widget. We'll make it WBP underscore save slot menu. Oh, I did not mean to make it save slot menu. Wee. So save slot menu. Right. So, I don't want an overlay. No, I want an overlay. I don't want a can, or do I want... No, I want an overlay. I do not want a canvas. That's what I mean. Right, so I want an overlay for this. And, of course, this can be resized to... custom... So at the moment, I'm going to make it 300 or 400. We'll make it 400, and we'll make it 400 by 200. Ad break starts imminently, so I'm going to throw the sign up and take a short little break. So I will be right back. Just hang on tight. Right, and we're back. Hello. Anyway, getting on with this now. So we got an overlay. First things first, I'm gonna make a small little image to use as a background. So we're gonna place it under the overlay. Just gonna be called image background. Gonna fill, and we're gonna change the color and opacity so that it's like gray, sort of like dark gray, closer to charcoal and black. And we're gonna sort of lower the opacity so it looks like that. Now, trying to think. So, background. Would I want? I think I would want it to be maybe a horizontal box, or oh wait, no. I think it would be horizontal box and horizontal box and horizontal box. So Oh wait, no. I want it to be one horizontal box on the top, one horizontal box on the bottom, and then oh yeah, no. Now I know. Right. So, okay, right. I was just figuring things out in my head. So next we're gonna use 2 horizontal boxes. So I'm gonna throw that in the overlay. And then we're going to throw in another horizontal box. Okay, I might be wrong. Right, I'm trying to remember. So delete that. Is it a vertical box I need to add and then a horizontal box? It might be. So fill and fill. So we get a vertical box, then we throw a horizontal box into the vertical box. And then fill. And then we want the fill to be 0.5 for now. I'll say 0.5 for now. And then we drag in another horizontal box into the vertical box. And then we fill that too. And then we'll say 0.5. Cool. But I may want to reduce this because I want the save slots to be actually sizable. So say 0.7 for the size or the fill size, and then 0.3 for the fill size for this one. Right. And the reason why I'm using these, for people who don't know, is because it helps to provide a lot more structure to UI rather than just sort of like placing things on the canvas or the overlay or whatever and just, you know, guessing whether or not it lines up. Okay, so if I go into the main menu, and if I was to drag the, let's see, Map Platformer, yeah, alright. So WBP underscore save slot menu, I'm gonna drag it here. I may actually want that to be 800 by 200 or 400. Oh, wait, whoops. That was the wrong one, not desired. Because desired is weird. Get rid of the thing, then save slot menu. It's still small. Anyway, enough fussing around with that. So we'll say horizontal box, buttons, and then we'll have or save slots, and then we'll have horizontal box, back button, and simply put, this will just, you know, go back one step in the menu. So if we're in the main menu, oh whoops, I did not mean to move that, whoopsie daisy. If we're in the main menu and we load up the save slot menu and we choose to go back, then we'll just close this menu, and you know, that's pretty much it. That's what happens here. Now the next thing I want to do is, rather than go in, make like all these like individual buttons for save slots and whatnot, I want to make a specific little sub widget for that. So if we go into user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, I'm gonna call it WBP underscore save slot button. And bearing in mind, I'm playing this by ear. I'm just winging this at the moment. I know roughly, like, I've gotten a general idea of things from, like, watching tutorials and whatnot, but in terms of, like, a general structural guide that I'm following, I'm not doing that at the moment. So, save slot button. Wait, what if I did fill screen instead of, you know, custom? Fill screen. Never mind. Anyway, get rid of that for now. I don't know why I keep going back to that. It's kind of bugging me, somewhat. Do you need a size box? Future reference. I'll do this. I'll do this for the button. Right. So, size box. Oh wait, actually, no. Wrap with size box. So now, if I drag this into the main menu, yay! There we go. So, I was just missing a size box, so now I know. Right. I also want to apply this to the save slot button, so we already have a size box here. And As for the width and height override, I'm not sure what we're going to set it to yet. We'll just sort of like get a general feel for it. Gonna have the button within the size box, and we're gonna say slot button, and for now I'm just gonna have a text on this button. I'm gonna make it larger because this is very small. Font. Right, never mind. 200. No, 300. 300 is nice. So, slot name. And for now, we'll just go with the same format of what I've been using to test things with. We're going to say, as an example, slot 1. I didn't mean to say slot name, I meant to say slot 1. So, slot 1, for example. And I think for now, this might be fine. For the actual, like, designer for the UI. Say, at the moment, the buttons, dimensions, style, doesn't say. Currently 1280 by 720. So I'll say custom, go 800 by 500. Oh wait, no. Make it 1200 by 800, but that might not be right because this. Right, if I was to drag the button onto this menu, save slot button. Okay, that's way too big. Let's say 1400 by 800. 1400 by 800. And I'll say custom instead. And then what I do want to make this smaller, so we're going to say 800, wait, no, actually, 400 by 200. Going to make the text smaller. And we're going to make the padding 0 for now. So as I said, text needs to be made a bit smaller, so 32. Padding for the top needs to be made to 100 maybe. No, 50. 50 is enough. And then, actually, maybe something close, maybe an actual square might be better if we're going for actual like little slots. So a square save slot right here, that's good. So now if I drag save slot button into the save slots horizontal box, that's there. So that's set to fill. I'll set it to 0.3. Or I'll just say to auto. Kind of doesn't look right. So add some padding. Oh, whoops. No, wait, no, actually, that looks kind of right, but I think maybe I need to make it bigger. You know what, we'll just make the entire padding 200. Or not. Weird, okay. Not how that's supposed to look at all, but, so 0.3, and I'll say we'll just duplicate this 2 more times. Never mind. So, I do still want... Because this looks a bit haphazard, so... Say 20. A padding of 20. Wait, actually... 80. Padding of 80 for each of them. That's looking a bit better. It's not looking exactly how I want it to, but... I can work with this. Increase the top and bottom padding slightly, so... Cool. Right, those are our slot buttons, and then we just need to put a button here. Just call it back button. And then say fill. And then we want some padding, so 200. Never mind. 50. But may need some more padding on the left and right side, so 100. Right, so 200. No, 800. And then a padding of 800 on the right? Okay, never mind. Why is this button so small? Oh wait, no, that was why I was doing... Oh. That was kind of my fault. Okay, no, never mind. Say 400, and a padding of 400 on the right. Close. 500. No, 600? This is just me getting close with each value I... Oh wait, no, 500 would have been better. Right. So... Wait. Okay, right. That's sorted now. So, back. Oh wait, no, I need text, not... I don't know what got into my head when I thought, oh, typing back will work. Oops. Anyway, this is not going to be a variable. This is just going to say back. Right. So, in terms of general structure, this is looking decent. So, main menu, I want to add... I mean, not just like another button, because I will need another button for like... So, instead of play, this will say start. And then I'll make a new button by duplicating this one. This will be load button. And then this needs to be shifted back into the middle. So this was X300. Wait, no, not X. No, X0. Whoops. Right, plenty. And then the text on this should just say load. So now, I'm gonna bring in the, I think, the save slot menu. I'm gonna bring it into the canvas panel. That doesn't look right. Why does that look like that? I think because I set it to custom. There we go. Right. That's more like it. So. I'm going to set the anchor to middle. I'm going to set the alignment to 0.5 and 0.5 so I can have it aligned properly. And then 0 and 0. Cool. Right. So we have our save slot menu. We don't want this to be visible when we start, of course. And if I was to open up the main menu, that is currently there. So we don't want that there. So where do I find visibility? Hidden. Right. So now that I've set it to hidden, this will just appear as normal. Load at the moment does the exact same as the play button or the start button. So if I click this... Okay, never mind, it doesn't do anything. Oh, no, I duplicated the button. I didn't duplicate the functionality. So start button still just does the same thing. Load doesn't do anything at the moment. So... I'm going to close this for the time being because we don't want to do anything with that yet. But we are wanting to change how this works. So, I'm going to go into the graph. And we have the play button stuff here. And we have the quit button stuff here. At the moment, when we click the play button, we just disable the play and the quit button. And at the moment, we load up the UI fade, and then we do all the stuff with loading the level. However, I don't want to do this anymore, or for the time being, I don't want to do this. So I'm going to disconnect this. And now if I just press this, it just disables the two buttons and nothing happens. Ideally, it should also disable the load button now. So we're going to get the load button and then set is enabled, and that is also set to false, so that will also that will be uninteractable. You won't be able to use the button at all. But now what I want to do is also, now I realize it, I should probably make this background image a little bit less transparent. There we go. Right. So this. Okay, so nothing's done nothing's being done at the moment. So where is the load button? Load button's here. I'm gonna do the on pressed. Yeah, on pressed. Right. So on pressed, load button. Again, I want to disable all three of the buttons, so but yeah, that also needs to happen when pressing quit as well. So I'm going to move all these over, and I'm going to take this and then load or paste it here, and then just connect it that way. So now quit button also disables all three of the buttons rather than the two that just existed there before. And then we're just going to disable all the buttons here as well. And at this point, I may as well just make this a little bit of a method, because this is just repeated in 3 places. So you know what? I'm going to collapse it into a small little function. So collapse the function, disable menu buttons. And then we'll get rid of this. We'll put this here. And that makes things a little bit neater now. And also, it's not like, oh, code is being repeated. We're just making the same function call 3 times. Because this essentially does the same thing on all 3 accounts. So, like, press start. Although it doesn't load the level anymore, it will disable the buttons. If we click load, doesn't do anything at the moment. Disables the buttons. If we click quit, it disables the buttons, and I did not reconnect where the quit button continues. Whoops. Because we don't want to change what the quit button's doing. The quit button, that works perfectly fine. That does whatever we need it to at the moment. Okay? Which is all pretty cool. Anyway, what we want to do in both of these instances is my attention wandered. Sorry about that. What we want to do in both these instances, we want to enable the save slot menu. But there is a specific thing that I want to add in terms of functionality for the save slot menu. So, bear with me. I will get to that. But for the time being, right. So, for now, we're just gonna get the save slot menu, gonna set visibility, and we're gonna set it to visible, or we're gonna set it to, it'll be set to visible. And again, as I said, because we're doing this in like 2 places, we'll probably want to make a method for loading up the save slot menu, especially considering the fact that I do want to be able to do a specific thing with it. But now, if I do this and I click start, it will open the save slot menu. At the moment, back doesn't do anything, so yeah, that kind of sucks. I know there's a specific way of, being able to send a signal without needing to make things dependent on like have them be dependent on each other. So it's something to do with multicast delegates, or no wait, it's event dispatches. That's the one. It's event dispatches. So construct, I think I want the event construct for this. And I don't know if I've gone over things before with with widget blueprints. I think I have, but I'll go over things again. Pre-construct is essentially, this happens while we're actually editing things within the designer for widgets. So like if we even like slightly adjust a thing, a change is reflected there. Construct is essentially the widget blueprint version of begin play. Also, the song from, yep, yeah, that first song ended. Sorry about that. But anyway, construct is essentially the widget blueprint version of begin play, and tick, well, it's just tick. But we want to do this in construct because this will happen, or we want to make sure this happens before things have. So, event dispatcher, new event dispatcher, we call this saved slot menu close. And I want to bind and then we're going to call this enable custom. We're going to make a custom event. We're going to call this enable button or menu buttons, or enable main menu buttons would probably be a better name for it. So we're going to call this enable main menu buttons. And then what we simply do is I don't know if I can duplicate a method. Hold on. Can I? I can. So instead of disable menu buttons, this will be called enable menu buttons. And this essentially does the inverse of what we have in the disable method. So we're just going to do this. And then back in the event graph, we're just going to call enable menu buttons from this event that's bound to this event dispatcher. And now I want to try and see if this actually works the way I hope it does. So on pressed, we have the back button, save slot menu. I might be wrong on a thing. Hold on a moment. I need to take a look at another project to use as a little reference point. So I'm gonna quit running the project. I have saved everything just to be sure, so I'm not gonna lose any progress that I've just made. I'm gonna go into a project that I've been learning. Or that I've been following a course for, so I'm just gonna double check things. I'm hoping this doesn't, take too long. Oh, sorry about that, chat. Very much still the sniffler. This thing is going to take a while. And I was really hoping that it wouldn't, considering the fact that I do kind of need to know what it is exactly that I'm trying to remember. Because I have a general idea of it, but I can't exactly remember what the hell I was doing. Okay, this is taking way longer to sort out than I thought it would. Why is it taking so long? Let me find this thing in my... Unreal projects... To be fair, I generally think it's just taking so long because it's on my HDD and not on an SSD. So, there's a reason. There's a reason for this. Anyway, I think while I'm just kind of waiting for things to happen, and I know what's going to happen, as soon as I start going on about, you know, what I'm intending to do with event dispatchers, it's just going to fucking work. So we're going to go here, make a new thing. So event dispatchers. So, essentially, an event dispatcher is like a little event that can be called. So, like... So, thing that can be called... It can be essentially subscribed to by an object or objects. And depending on a thing, whether a thing happens, like, if you have a thing that happens, you can choose to call that event dispatcher, and anything that's subscribed to that event dispatcher can essentially have a thing happen in response to that event being called, which is what I was trying to do, but things are not panning out as I thought they would, so odd stuff. Also, I'm going to check Task Manager, see what's going on, because right, there's no, like, well, there is an instance of Unreal Editor, but it's not being that quick. Let me... I didn't mean to minimize Clip Studio, I was checking a thing. No. Oh, this is so awkward. I wish I'd... I didn't know I was going to do this, so there was no possible way I could have known that I was going to try and, you know, look at things. Oh wait, it's finally loading, thank God. Sorry about the wait. Wasn't expecting this to take so long. Cool, right. So the thing I'm trying to find in this other project, so if I go to... It's a UI button. It's oh wait, no, found. I'm right. So okay, I think I just about remember what it is exactly I need to do. Right, so I'm gonna compile the code again. Waiting, I really should move this other learning project onto my SSD just in case I ever need to access it again. Because waiting for a bit is not exactly the greatest, because it kind of slows me down. And then I just kind of get a bit more distracted more often than not. So, yeah, kind of sucks. Anyway, project's back open again. Right. So I don't want to create the event dispatcher here. Delete that. We're going to go into save slot menu. We're going to create the event dispatcher here. So save slot menu closed. And we're going to call save slot menu closed. And then also set visibility to hidden, because we can do that on it, on like to itself on an object. And then on the main menu, go into construct, bind event to bind event to save slot menu closed, so we can access it here. And then we're going to say, call it custom event, enable main menu buttons. Get rid of the other S because I didn't mean to type in two. Whoops. And then we're just going to call enable menu buttons. So therefore target must have a connect. Hold on, let me just check. Okay, I think this is the reason why, rather than setting it visible, right. Right, I was looking at the other project that I was learning from. So rather than having WBP save slot menu be a thing that's existing on this WBP, we get rid of it. And I know that's going to break things here, because that depends on that. In both instances here, I'm just going to make another method. I mean, I'm going to have to make another method anyway. So we're going to create widget. So we're going to create widget. Say WBP save slot menu. And just to check, does anything happen with owning player? Get player controller, yeah, as usual. Wait, no, does it happen? Yeah, no, it's still get player controller, right. I'm gonna close this other project now that I know, so get player controller. And I'm gonna take this and we're gonna insert this as the target for this bind event, and then we're just gonna have this happen here. Right. So I've only set it to the start button at the moment because imminently I am going to add one or two little things to the save slot menu that I'm going to factor in when I actually put all of this bit into its own method. So first we're going to test this out. So I'm currently in the level because I was there. Oh, that's the default for loading into the project. So we're going to open the main menu. When I click start, oh wait, I need to add it to the viewport. So not only do we bind to the event, but we also want to add to viewport. And I know what's going to happen. It's probably not going to Whoa, okay, that's a bit too big. So if we click back, it does close it, but it doesn't... Oh, because I didn't... Right, silly me. Right, so we're going to click start, we're going to click back, and they become enabled again, which is what we want. So we can click back, and then we are able to just click on these buttons again, but at the moment this doesn't do anything. So, next thing I want to do, just quickly, so save slot menu, I want to add a... Or I want to add a... or create a function or an event call. I'll make it an event. So custom event called initialize slot menu. Oh, whoops. I did it again. So rename. So this is initialize slot menu, chat. And this is essentially just, you know, we're initializing the save slot menu. We're going to do the things when we load it. So what I want to add here is a Boolean parameter. We're going to call this is loading. And this is essentially meaning, are we loading a save or not? So, now, the reason why I was waiting to put this into its own method before I added this is because I want to feed whatever I want it to be, like saving or loading it, or loading a new game, or starting a new game, or loading a pre-existing slot into this. So we're going to say initialize slot menu, and in the case of start game, we'll just say, you know, is loading is false. But I'm going to say collapse it into its own function. I'm going to call it load save. Also, ad break starts soon, chat. Slot menu. So we're going to say load save slot menu, and we're going to add the input, and we're going to call it, or make it a boolean, we're going to call it is loading. Again, much like the one within the function itself. And then I'm going to drag this out here, and is loading is essentially going to be equal to this. Oh, event dispatcher pin is not connected. Okay, I have encountered a problem. So you can't bring custom events into functions. To be fair, that's understandable. Add return node, and I want to make this a pin in the return node, because at the very least I can Control X, delete this, get rid of this, throw that back out, and then back in the event graph, throw that there. I need to add a new custom event. Enable main menu buttons, and we're just going to call enable menu buttons like we did before. So now this should be fixed. And now when we click load, we can essentially do the same here. We can say that it is loading, and then copy and paste this, because as I said before, No, actually, I don't need to copy and paste this. I can drag these in the middle here. Also, ad break starting, short little break. I'll do a little bit in the break, and I will be right back. Right, we are back. I got those little bits sorted out during the break. So that works. This works on the load slot as well. Though for some reason, I get a blueprint runtime error when I quit. Access none. Trying to read property. Cool func load save slot menu return value node Find event to save slot, menu closed. Which is kind of weird considering the fact... Like, I don't understand what's causing it. Like, of course, it's referring to... like, this here. But I don't know why it's... It's weird. It's being a bit odd. But aside from that, it is working, but this is a little bit weird. Anyway, so next thing I want to do is, of course, here we have initialize slot menu. So this is where I make a method. Oh, wait, no. This is where I start changing things within the buttons themselves. So with the buttons, so save slot button, I'm going to go in. I'm going to add a variable. It's going to be called slot name. Going to be a text or string. I'm trying to think. Go back into the code. It's in the player controller. It's an F string, right? So I need to make it a string, I believe. So yeah, perfect. So this is going to be a string called slot name. Going to be editable. By default, I'm going to make it slot 1, so there is a default for all of them. I'm going to go into the save slot menu, and then for each save slot button, I'm going to go into the designer, and slot name is slot 1 there. Slot name should be slot 2, and then slot name should be slot 3. And then I'm gonna also go into the save slot button. And where is the text? I'm gonna make the slot name text a variable. I'm gonna go into pre-construct. And I'm going to take... Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, there's 2 variables called it now. I'm gonna rename slot name text. Slot name text. Right. Whew, there we go. Right. So we're gonna get slot name set font. I'm gonna split the struct pin. Oh, hold on. Is it font or is it style? Hold on. Oh, it's text. Right. So set text. And by default, I'm going to say it's slot 1, and then this will just say slot 1. Then in the save slot menu, I need to set all of these all over again. So this is slot 2. And then as you can see, by using pre-construct, it will just change it on the fly when we change it, or change the value of this variable, because it is setting the text. Cool. Right, so... So now in the save slot menu, we've got the text. So in initialize slot menu, we have is loading. We're going to make a branch here. So branch, and if it's loading, then we'll do stuff up here. But Oh wait, actually, I'll make the function for this. So initialize slots. So initialize slots will take in an input for a WBP safe slot. So this is going to be called slot. So this is going to be a WBP safe slot button reference, and does safe game exist? So we're gonna get slot name text. We're gonna throw it in here. We're checking if the save game exists, just like we do in the code in C++. So we're checking if the save game exists. We're gonna do a branch here. Oh wait, no, no, we're just gonna do a branch here. So we're going to get slot button in this case, and set is enabled. Oh wait, no, actually, I don't need to do a branch here. I just need to call this and then place that there. Cool. And then back to the event graph. If it is loading, we're going to... Oh, this shouldn't be called initialize slots. This should be called initialize slot. So I'm going to rename these variables to, so save slot 1, save slot 2 for this one. And then save slot 3 for this one. And then back into the graph, I'm going to call initialize slot. And then we're going to call this 3 times. So 2 and 3. And then for each one, we're passing in the corresponding slot. So we're passing in slot 1 for the first one, slot 2 for the second one, and then slot 3 for the third one. And then the reason why I'm doing this is because if we go into the load screen and, you know, there is no slot that exists with that name, then we don't want to enable that button to, you know, for the player to actually be able to press it in the load menu. So that's why I'm doing this. So if we go into the main menu now, so as far as I remember, I did not get rid of the slot 1 that I made earlier when I was demonstrating how things were working now. So if I click load, slot 1 is the only one that is, you know, able to be clicked on. The other two, they don't work, which is what we want. So again, and the reason why this just sort of like re-enables is because I'm also realizing that this isn't removing it from parent and is just constantly creating a new one every single time. So there's a thing I need to change. So save slot menu, rather than set visibility, we need to destroy. Oh wait, remove from parent. Remove from parent. So we need to remove from parent, and that essentially destroys this. So, as I was saying, because we're not like hiding and showing a thing every single time we create a save slot menu, we're essentially creating a new one and then destroying it whenever we close it. By default, all 3 of these buttons you can interact with. However, it's whenever we sort of go onto the load menu, if we're going onto the load menu, that's when it decides, oh, this can be interacted with, this can't be interacted with, and this can't be interacted with because only one slot exists. So that's what's happening there. So that's kind of like the general gist of like how it should look working. This is still, I don't know what's throwing this error. Like, it's accessing none, but... do a small delay here. Right. Anyway, so the next thing that I want to do, and this is a pretty important part of it, so at the moment, you know, we have the start button, we have the load button, and so on and so forth. However, there's two things that we're currently missing. One, if we click a slot button on the load screen, we're not, you know, loading in onto, you know, a previously saved slot. And if we're going onto the start screen, what we want to happen is we want to have a warning appear whenever you click a slot that has data in that slot and say, oh, you're about to overwrite this slot, do you want this to happen? And then you sort of click yes or no, and then if you click yes, then you just sort of carry on with things. But one at a time, and I may probably do that in the other bit in my own spare time, because as I said, I don't want to go on for too long today, because I do want to take it easy. But what I want to do at the very least, I want to make it possible to load into a previously saved slot. So first, I'm going to close the engine. So we're going to close the engine, and we're going to be making some little tweaks to the game save data. So, view property, edit anywhere, blueprint read write, and we want this. I'm trying to think. It would have to be a text? F-text. From my understanding, it has to be an F-text. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to recompile. I'm going to quickly reopen the project and just refresh my memory on what type I actually need for this little bit. Because it's no good trying to do a thing when I don't actually, or I'm not entirely certain. Right, so in the main menu, just double checking. So graph, and that stuff is still there. It is oh, it's a name. Okay. Okay, right. Oh, wait, it would be F name. Yeah, right. So, new property, edit anywhere, blueprint rewrite. It would be an F name variable. So we want an F name, and we just want it to call it last saved level. And, of course, we don't do anything here. In the player controller, save game. Last saved level equals, and I need to is it U, let me think, U gameplay statics, get current level name. And we're going to convert it into an F name. Right, so that's what we're doing on this side. The small change is that we added last save level as an F name variable here. And then when we save the game, we're going to essentially... We're essentially going to just get the current name of the level, which is normally just an F string, and we're going to cast it into an F name using the C style cast here. And then it's just going to be saved into last save level. So that's the changes we're making on this side. Can't believe it's not... It honestly, yeah, no, I had that feeling at work where it felt like it should be... Oh, no, wait, It was at work yesterday when it felt like it should have been way later than it was, but it was only like 12. It should have been like 2 in the afternoon, but no, it was only 12. Which, you know, not a good feeling when, you know, it feels later than it should be. Or later than it is. It should be later than it is. That's what I meant. So I'm gonna go here. Click to. Game data has been overwritten. Quit that, and then go into the main menu now. Oh, actually, one more thing I should probably do for the save slot buttons. I should add another variable to it, and I'm going to call it is loading. And this is going to be very important. So, is loading is set there. I'm going to go into the save slot menu. I'm going to go into initialize slot. And we're going to is loading. And it's going to be set to true, because this is checking whether or not, or it's initializing the slot on the load screen. Okay, whoops. So on save slot button, when we click the button, so we're actually doing this part of things now. So, on pressed, when we press the button, we're going to say, get is loading, branch. Oh, actually, on the save slot menu, whoops, that's not where I meant to go. I meant to go back to the event graph. I need to take each save slot and set, free, and I need to set it to false for each one. So, slot 2, and then slot 3, and we're setting it for false for each one because... Oh wait, no, it doesn't apply. I remember now, it's because each time it closes and opens the save slot menu, it's opening a new instance of it, so it literally doesn't matter in this instance. It's good. I'm also remembering to take my important stuff and struggling to find where it was for some reason. Happens on occasion. Though the other thing that I need to take, there's none left in this old one, I need to see if I can find the other one. Hold on a moment. There we go. There we go, much better. Anyway, so yes, on the save slot button, we check if we're loading. If true, then we're going to load game from slot, and we've already checked that the data exists within the slot, because otherwise this would be a hidden button. We're going to get the slot, we're going to cast to game save data, which is the one that I made a blueprint for it, BP game save data. So we're going to get last save level. If this cast is successful, first we're going to check if I don't know how to check if an F name is empty or not, but we're going to load level, or is it open level? It's open level. Open level by name, and we're going to take the last save level, and we're going to just load it. And it should be as simple as that. So, oh, sorry about that. So I'm going to go back to the main menu. So maps, main menu. We're going to click load. And that worked, although Because I don't have the same thing that's happening with... Wait, hold on. If I... Right, so... Third person... Wait, not blueprints. Maps. Third person map. Going to the level blueprint. Okay, no, I don't. Right. So the reason why I wasn't able to control anything is because the same logic that I have for re-enabling controls within the test level, I do not have within the third-person level. So, yeah, that's why I wasn't able to control anything. But, this worked. We're able to load the previously loaded level. And I didn't check from my understanding, so I should check from the main menu again. So, main menu... Load, slot 1, and it instantly loads the slot. We're in the first level, we're going to go into the player state, because this data should still exist. Yes, this data still exists, so it still retains whatever collectibles we found. So, that's pretty cool. I'm going to find a way to resolve this error, because I don't know why it shouldn't be trying to access anything. To access anything else, which is kind of weird. I probably should go through bit by bit and find out the exact cause for it, but that works. Now, the one thing that I am missing now is the... To be fair, I could probably get it done very quickly. I'm going to make a little pop-up menu, and this is going to be another widget, or we could just make it a thing that... Hold on. Let me think. To be fair, I could... Let me think. To be fair, I could make it like a little pop-up that just exists on this thing, rather than make it a separate widget. So I'm going to make it appear over the vertical box. So I'm going to make it another overlay. So an overlay within an overlay, which it can work. And then I'm going to throw... Oh wait, so... Then I'm going to take an image. Throw that there. Going to adjust the image size. Warning, pop-up, background. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to get text. Have the alignment. Right, that sits on top perfectly, though. Right, not 400, 200. Yeah, cool, right. Font, can increase the size to 50 for now. You know, make it big, very easy to read. I may up the bottom padding again so that it's 250. So it sits near the top. And then we're going to get another text and put it below here. And then do. So we're going to have the text saying, warning, a save game already exists in this slot. Do you want to overwrite it? And can I make a board? I can probably make a border. Where is... Never mind. Right. I'll figure something out. Next we need to add 2 buttons. So general question for people in chat and people watching things back. What is your preference for like 2 buttons? Do you prefer having 2 buttons like one above the other and one below the other, or do you prefer having them left and right? Because in this case I prefer having them left and right. That doesn't look right. Oh. Okay, never mind, do not do that. Okay, this stuff with the button isn't right. So maybe this approach isn't actually ideal. Overlay. Panel, canvas panel, grip panel. Scale box, stack box, uniform grid panel. Widget switcher, wrap box. Okay, maybe a canvas panel is probably better. Or I might be wrong. Horribly wrong. Oh wait, no, actually, definitely better because I can actually sort the sizes and whatnot. So, to the center. Right, we struggled a little bit, but we got there. Then... Canvas panel, warning. And then set the anchors to the center. 0.5, 0.5, then 0, 0. Ah. The old fun activity, so ban, lock, and deny. There we go. Bots be gone. Right. What's going on with this? Or is it because I can actually resize it? There we go. Right. Cool. So now that I have this sorted out, I also wonder, can I add a border to this? Never mind. Right, never mind. Now we need the buttons. So whoops, right. Button. So 0.5 and then 0.5. And then we'll move it down here first. So 210. I'll make it 300. No, wait, 200 by 50. By 80 maybe. Just to make it a nice decent size. And then make it minus 200. And then I'm going to duplicate this button. And then this needs to be this needs to be positive 200. Ooh. Sorry about that, chat. Ooh. Again with this. I should just say button yes and button no. So this is gonna be just gonna say no. That's all this is gonna say. No. So in the designer we have this stuff now. We want this to not be visible. So visibility hidden by default, and then for the button on pressed. So, and then we also want an on pressed event for the no button as well. So, okay, so simply put, when we press no, we want to set this visibility to hidden. So set visibility to hidden. That's essentially what that does. And then when you press yes, create save game object from BP game save data, and then save game to slot. And I should probably also do a thing where it's like, oh, current slot name or selected slot name. So I'm going to promote this to a variable. So selected slot name. And then say, for example, we just load level, open level by name, and we just open the test level, for example, just to make this simple. Okay, so now that we've done that, when we initialize the slot menu, we just don't do anything there. In the save slot button, right, there is another thing that I need to make. Oh, I need to make an event dispatcher. I'm gonna say on slot button clicked. I'm gonna call on slot button click. And then, whoops. Not mean to do that. Right, so custom event on save slot clicked. So we can bind the same event to all three buttons. Right, cool. So we're going to, regardless of whether or not the thing is loading, we're going to bind all three buttons to the same event, which is called on save slot clicked. And then when the save slot's clicked, should probably also, when we're initializing the save slot menu, have a boolean, call it is loading game, which is inconsistent with some of the other ones I know, but this is just to avoid confusion. So we're gonna set is loading game to this variable as well. So when we click a save slot, we're going to check if we're loading. So branch. And if we are loading, we're not going to do anything here. Because we're already doing this thing here. Oh wait, no, to be fair, I don't actually need to do this, because this is only called when... Right, silly me then. Boop, boop. So on the save slot clicked, we're going to take the canvas panel warning. We're going to set visibility. And set it to not hit testable. Self only. And then can this accept inputs? No, it can't. Multicast delegate. This is info, config variable. Save game. Let me think. Get. Oh, whoops. Let me think. Let me think. My brain is trying to figure something out. Oh, ad break starts again soon. Read only. Oh. Oh, that's how you add parameters! Ah! Right, okay, I just did not notice. I'm gonna make it a string. So now if we go in here, set selected slot name to this. Okay, cool. Right. So, we're going to test this out now. So, of course, if we click load, that just does, you know, its normal stuff. However, of course, this is still throwing this error. I will fix this. It is kind of annoying. So, now, when we click... Right, so if I go back into the save slot menu, like, if I click, or if I go into the save slot button... Oh, wait. Now I remember, there is an extra step that an extra step that I need to add. So in the save slot menu, on save slot clicked, I don't want to open this straight away. So I'm going to set the selected slot name. Then we're going to say check. Save. Does save game exist? Going to check if it exists. Because if we're on the, like, on the start game and selecting a slot from there, we don't know if something does or doesn't exist yet. So, or at the very least, we have no clear indicator, so we're just doing this. So we're going to do a branch. And we're going to say if the data does exist, we're going to create the pop-up, or we're going to have the pop-up appear. Otherwise, we're just going to load, open level by name, and we're just going to open the test level. Okay, cool. The ad break is about to start. I'm going to test this out afterwards. And if it does work, then I will call things there. But if not, then we'll just keep fixing it. But I'll be right back. Right, and we're back. Cool. Okay, so, the last little thing that I changed before the ad break, just to refresh your memory, was that instead of just immediately having this pop-up menu appear, when we click on a slot in the, like, the start game version of the slot screen, we, of course, set the selected slot name. We check whether or not the save game does exist within that slot. If it does, then we create the menu. Otherwise, we just open a new level. Or we open a new game. So, now... Oh, hold on. Yeah. Town Square's a good song from the original Spyro. Okay, right. Focus wandered a little bit, sorry about that. So, if we click on slot 1... Okay, wasn't expecting that. That's not what was supposed to happen. So weird. So if I click on, right, so save slot menu. I need to make sure that this is actually... I need to test this with all of them. So let's see. Say print string. So we're going to get the slot name and print it to the screen, just to make sure that this is actually printing each individual one. So start. Okay, that's not printing a thing at all. Oh, that's why. I did not pass in a thing. Oh, that was completely my fault. Right, so now when I click slot 1, if I click slot 2, that will just, you know, load up a thing. And if I click slot 1, save game already exists. If I click yes, then it just loads. So, for all intents and purposes, we have a saving and loading system. And that's pretty cool. We have saving and loading in this project. Like, fully, not just like testing out like the little basics of saving and loading just for the sake of, you know, future reference. We have an actual save slot menu on the main menu that you can like start a new save on or load into a previously created save on. And that's on, like, it seems minor in a way, but it's a big step in my opinion. It's such a big step, and I'm very happy with that. So, that's an absolute win. So, yeah. Now, as I said, a lighter stream. And to be fair, I was expecting to, like, wrap it up, like, an hour or half hour earlier. But this is essentially the length of what game dev streams would have been, you know, before my extra hour change. So, yeah. But anywho, I'm going to wrap things up there for today. So, to everyone who showed up, and everyone watching things back, whether it's here on Twitch or on YouTube, depending on when you're watching this, thank you ever so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Next stream, of course, tomorrow, we will be continuing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. We've got we've got the last of the Sacred Flames to find, and that will be, well, I believe that'll just be within Eldin, or Eldin Volcano, or whatever. So we've got to do that tomorrow. So, yeah. But again, thank you ever so much for being here, and as always, I will see you all again in the very next one. And hopefully for next Game Dev Sunday, it will be back to 4 hours. I just wanted to take it a little bit easier today. But yeah, again, I will see you again in the next one. Bye-bye!